Hey everybody, what's going on? Snowy Minotaur here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. And since we're about to go into Chapter 4 Season 2, I think I should do a review video talking about my own personal thoughts and opinions about the very first season of Chapter 4. Now, I wrote down some positives and negatives because this season was it wasn't that perfect, but I will still say that I did enjoy this season. However, there were some really bad problems with it. But let's talk about the positives here first. So the first positive I got to talk about here is the map and graphics. Now, the map, I actually really like this map. I like how there's all new locations and not one old location on the map. I do think that's kind of a good thing because I think the community is kind of getting sick and tired of seeing a lot of the old locations and them just not making up new ones. And I'm actually really glad that they did a whole revamp of this map. Like, they made it feel like legit brand new. My favorite's probably Faulty. I think that one's a really good location. That is the bowling alley area. I think that's really cool that we got a bowling alley location, and just the overall feel to the map feels really nice, and it definitely fits the theme of like the medieval theme of the season. And the graphics, like, oh my goodness, this game was absolutely beautiful. They brought back color into the game. However, I will say that I still kind of prefer Chapter 3's map more than Chapter 4. Not saying that this map is bad or anything like that, but it's definitely a close second in my opinion to the Chapter 3 map. I just think the Chapter 3 map was really damn good in my opinion. But let's move on and let's talk about the battle pass. This is my second positive, and I gotta say it, this was a really good battle pass. A lot of the cosmetics were really good. You had some awesome gliders. You had dances in the battle pass. Granted, there was an icon series emote in here, but it wasn't freaking copyrighted, so I guess there's that I can say. And the skins. Holy crap, I really liked some of the skins as battle pass. I think they killed it with this battle pass. Some of my favorite skins on the battle pass are Celine, which was the tier 1 skin. I think this was a very clean skin, and it actually kind of became sweaty, honestly, which is really interesting to see that. Dusty, this was probably my favorite female skin from this season. I really loved this skin. I was not expecting to run this skin as much as I did. Like, oh, she's so good. And then we also had a few gaming collaborations in here, which were really cool. We had 2 game collabs. Doomslayer in the tiers, he was actually on page 5 in the battle pass, which honestly I wouldn't have been upset if he was tier 100. I think he was done really well. Doomslayer was one of the best skins out of the battle pass in my personal opinion. And then there was also Geralt. I think he's slightly worse, but I still think that he was done very well. Obviously this is a Witcher collaboration. Yeah, really cool that we got gaming characters in here. I think that Gaming Legends just knocks it out of the park every time. And not to mention, we had an original tier 100 skin, and it was the Ageless, and I honestly think, hot take here, that he is as good as Midas in my opinion. This is one of the best tier 100 skins we have gotten since Midas. But let's move on and let's talk about the loot pool. The loot pool was actually pretty good. They had a lot of old weapons return, like the Burst and the Scar coming back finally after many seasons. And then they also brought back like the heavy shotgun, which, you know, I'll talk about that a little later. But they even brought back Slurp Juice, and just recently, as this video recording, they brought back the infantry rifle, which was really cool. And also they added a bunch of new weapons. Obviously Noda, they would have actually added some new weapons. And I actually think that there were some pretty good ones that we got this time around. We had like a new healing item, which was Slap Juice, which was done pretty well. We even had the Thunder Shotgun, which is probably the best shotgun that we've gotten since the Pump in my personal opinion. We had the Twin Mag SMG, which was a very balanced SMG in my opinion. It's not overpowered like the Stinger. We had the Red Eye, which was also pretty balanced. I thought this was going to be a pretty powerful weapon, but it actually turned out to be more balanced than I thought it would have been. I also really like the Excalibur rifle. I think this was a very fun marksman rifle, definitely the best one that we've had in the entire game in my opinion. And then we also had the Shockwave Hammer. You can say what you want about it. I think this is one of the best mobility items we've had in a very long time. It's so fun to use. It's such a unique weapon. And then we also had the Tactical Pistol. Now, this was one of the best weapons we have ever seen in the game. If not, this is probably the best pistol in my personal opinion ever in Fortnite. This thing was insane, especially if you added augments onto it, which is why my next one is going to be the augment / perk system. This is by far the best feature that we've gotten this entire season and this chapter in general so far. I am blown away with how they did it. Now, granted, there are some very overpowered ones, but a lot of them are very useful. I'll throw a few of them on screen here, but they were so well done, and this honestly opens up the doorway to have more options for perks, and I think this was really cool. Heck, even some of them had like exclusive weapons like the Tactical Assault Rifle in it, for example, and they actually buffed it this season by giving it a scope, which was awesome. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to talk about the negatives, because this season was not all that perfect. The first one one here is the lack of map changes. There was barely any map changes during the season. Chapter 3 Season 1, I'm going to bring this up here, had 2 major map changes in the season. We had 2 locations added back, and 1 new one and 1 old one, and the whole map was covered in snow during the Winterfest event. This season did not do that at all. The Winterfest event was an absolute disaster. I made a video talking about that if you want to go watch that. If, you know, it's a top right hand corner. And like, there was barely any map changes. The only map changes that we technically got during the entire season was during the Most Wanted event, which was also a pretty good event, I won't lie. But another thing I have to talk about here, which I gotta go back to, is the loot pool. The loot pool had really good items in there, okay? But the bad items were really freaking bad. Like the shotguns. Now, I've already said that the Thunder Shotgun is great, and it is still definitely the best shotgun in the game right now in the current loot pool that we're in. But the other shotguns, oh god, like the Thunder Shotgun is just so good. Then you have the Combat Shotgun, which is probably the second best shotgun in my opinion, which honestly should have replaced another semi-auto, which I'll talk about just a little bit here. But they made this only exclusive to a perk, which is pretty sad. I do think that this should have been in the loot pool. The Heavy Shotgun is either really good or really bad. It just depends on if you hit that shot or not. And then there was the Maven. The Maven shotgun is one of the worst shotguns I have ever used in my life. It is so freaking bad. I hit 30 to 60 damage shots with this thing every time at close range with this, by the way. Even headshots. Like the most damage I think I've ever done with this gun was a little over 100 damage, and it's at a gold version of it. And people were saying that this was the meta for the season. Yeah, freaking right. This shotgun was ass. Like absolute butt cheeks. There was also no snipers. It was really sad that they got rid of them once again and replaced them with the bows. No one likes the bows. The only one that's actually good is the shockwave bow. That's the only one that's actually worth your time. The other ones are just completely useless. But ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for the one big thing that ultimately killed this season for me, and probably for a lot of you watching this video. It's time to talk about it: bugs and performance. Where do I begin? Where do I even begin with this? This season ultimately got ruined for me because of this right here. This had to be the buggiest season I have ever played in my life. This is one of the worst seasons of all time when it comes to the bugs and just overall performance of the game, because good god, it was horrible. Now, if I was to actually list off all the bugs that were in this season, I probably would have more freaking filler than any Naruto seasons. I swear, I'm not kidding you. But I wanted to mention just a few of them on here. So the first one is performance on console. Oh god, if you're a console player, especially someone who plays on the next gen Xbox consoles, you would know my pain, because you might have been noticing some of my gameplays that might look a little choppy. Well, that's not my recording software, that's not my PC, that's not my console. It is the game, because it's not handling Unreal Engine, because Epic screwed up so badly ever since, honestly, last season, believe it or not, Chapter 3 Season 4, that there's been massive FPS drops that have just been plaguing consoles. Like, they have been so bad. Like, it's become absolutely unplayable, and I've died so many times to the FPS bugs and just the massive FPS drops. And I play on 120 FPS. So 120 FPS and it goes all the way down to like 20 is atrocious. And they have barely said anything about it. They recently just came out and said that they acknowledge that this is an issue after over half a year of people complaining about this. Like, that's embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Like, I feel bad for anybody who got an next gen Xbox or even a PlayStation. Like, it was happening on PlayStation too. And I feel bad for people who play on last gen, because I heard so many reports on that last gen Fortnite right now is unplayable. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. And not to mention, there was a bunch of game-breaking bugs, including one to where you would basically start to run slowly when you're using the hammer, and they said they fixed it, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm still running into this to this very day. It has not been fixed whatsoever. Epic's just like, we're gonna slightly fix a little bit of issues, but most of the issues we're just not even gonna bother with whatsoever. Like, that to me is absolutely embarrassing. Like, they even had to disable multiple augments due to bugs, and just so much other things. They even had to cancel tournaments because of bugs, because I really feel like Chapter 4 was just not ready to launch. It wasn't just affecting gameplay, it was also affecting the item shop. Item shops were broken so badly this season that you couldn't gift cosmetics separately to people in some instances, and them even disabling tabs so badly. Even though I don't think that's a bug, I do think that that system's screwing up. I'm still going to mention it here because good god. And not to mention, they were also hiding tabs as well, to the point where people had to buy cosmetics off of a Discord bot. Oh, and the Deku Smash Mythic, which was the My Hero Academia collab, that was a disaster, because they actually disabled this freaking mythic during the event because it was bugged and it was giving off epic epileptic seizures. That's a huge L. And ladies and gentlemen, I could keep going on about these bugs because there were so many of them. But ladies and gentlemen, overall, Chapter 4 Season 1 had a lot of good things added to the game, but ultimately, it was ruined for me due to the amount of bugs that pretty much never got fixed, the lack of any exciting map changes, and the loophole having, don't get me wrong, really good weapons, but also very annoying and absolutely garbage weapons. Like, the weapons that were bad were really bad. But I'm still gonna give this season a 7 out of 10. I do think that the stuff that they did good was really good, and I really hope next season's a lot better than this one, because for the love of God, do not make this a buggy mess as it was this season. But I would love to know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts about this season? Did you like it? Hate it? Let me all know down below. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did happen to enjoy it, consider subscribing to the channel, turn notification bell so you can always aim more new videos from me below weekly. Drop a like on the video if you did happen to enjoy this video. I also have a Twitter that's @SnoopyManator on Twitter if you want to go follow me. Thank you all so much for watching. I love every single one of you, and don't forget everyone, it's always good to take chances. Peace out, everyone.